on labor and employment cases that he has dealt with, he usually rules in favor of the employer, but not invariably. There's sort of a nuanced view. His view on regulations, though, is actually quite interesting. So the seminal Supreme Court case in administrative law is a case called Chevron, in which courts generally defer to the interpretations of laws by executive branch agencies when the law is ambiguous and when the agency's interpretation is a reasonable one. He has explicitly called for the Supreme Court to revisit and overturn its Chevron case. It's not so much that he doesn't like administrative agencies, so much as he believes it is the role of a judge to look at a law that is ambiguous and to give it the court's best interpretation of that law, and not to say, well, since it's ambiguous and since your interpretation is reasonable, we'll just punt it to you. He thinks that's an abdication of the judicial duty. If his view were to prevail, then administrative agencies would have a lot less discretion in terms of how they interpret vague laws. With respect to state regulations, on the other hand, there's a doctrine that's referred to as the Dormant Commerce Clause. So the Commerce Clause is in the Constitution. It's what enables Congress to regulate in a whole host of areas. States often, when Congress hasn't spoken, attempt to regulate on matters that affect interstate commerce. And courts have, when they think the states have interfered too much with interstate commerce, have occasionally said, no, even though Congress hasn't spoken, this goes too far and violates the Dormant Commerce Clause. He has said, look, there is no Dormant Commerce Clause in the Constitution, and he has declined to apply it in cases when he's had the opportunity to do so. So if his view prevails, when Congress is silent, states may have more room to regulate.
John, when you look, you know, he's been compared oftentimes now to Scalia, the role that he would be replacing.
Right.
More or less conservative. I've been on a couple of different websites where they have these graphics, these sliding scales to show what they call more conservative, less conservative. They put little pictures of each of the different justices. Where do you put him?
Yeah, you know, it's hard to determine, for instance, what they mean by conservative. So, for instance, Antonin Scalia was often referred to as the criminal defendant's best friend on the court. He had a conservative approach to judging in that he was an originalist. He paid attention to the criminal procedural protections the criminal defendants had, even though he often reached a result that conservatives, if you're a law and order conservative, wouldn't like. I would actually say in that regard, Neil Gorsuch is a lot like Antonin Scalia. However, when it comes to the deference due to administrative agencies, there they appear to be on opposite sides of the spectrum.
And
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.